sick? You're sick, so you're very thirsty? There's a bug on you? Well, brush it off. What do you say to bugs? Yes, you do. Buzz off. No, shoo fly. Shoo. Mummy's thirsty too. Can Mummy have a sip? Share with Mummy? You have to hold it up for Mummy. People have forgotten what it was like before the abortion law came into being in 1969. I remember picking up the paper almost on a daily basis. Some woman would be found in a lane having bled to death, after having been at a backstreet abortion. There was always the risk of death with abortions, and I remember growing up thinking of abortions as something which one did not do, but only because it was such a tremendous risk to one's life, you see. So when I decided to have an abortion, that was when I was pregnant, with the eighth one. You remember Damon? He had just started school. I think he was 6 or 7 at the time, and I had just gotten a job. And we had this new house with a very big mortgage, and I wanted, all the kids to go to university. So I had this job, and all of a sudden I discovered I was pregnant for the 8th time. And I felt at the time that I just couldn't go through with it. I mean, it was a very traumatic time for me. And when I made that decision, for me it was a life and death matter at that time. I really felt that my life was on the line, and that was why I told you, because I felt that I might not come back, you see. And that if I died, you would be able to go on, that it was the lesser of two evils. If I were to have another child, it would have made such a hardship, financial hardship.
Oh, well, I recall, I remember once I got over the anger at you, and I guess at Daddy too, I looked at it very selfishly, and I thought, God, I mean, what is that going to mean? Where are we going to put it? How can we have a little baby in the house? And I just looked at it very selfishly. And but what brought me back to reality was the look of terror on your face, I suppose, or fear.
I think it was more fear.
Okay, well, when you sat down and you were telling me where your bank statements were, and you were giving me this little bundle and saying, everything you need to know, and the key to the safety deposit box, and everything is in this little package in case anything should happen. And only then was I struck with what this actually meant, that you were, subjecting yourself to someone that you really didn't know at all.
I didn't.
You didn't know what the circumstances were going to be like, and you didn't know whether you were going to come out of it okay. And in fact, at that time, you even talked about you were going to be in a motel or something to recuperate.
I was hoping to be.
And I thought, oh my God, I mean, something could happen. I guess I didn't realize it at the time until you sort of sat down and said, in case I don't come back.
The way it happened was such a terrifying experience. I mean, the doctor picked me up on a corner and drove me up and down the street, for me not to know where I was going. And I was convinced, that this might be it, you see. And the circumstances under which the abortion took place, luckily it turned out to be a qualified doctor, and he had a woman there, a very strong woman who held my hands, and I was told, don't move. It was really a very traumatic situation. I mean, it's been so many years, but the feelings, and also not knowing after it was all over what was going to happen, because quite often it's the aftermath. And nowadays, things are a little bit better, but not much. I mean, there's so many areas. I mean, when you were in Winnipeg, the problems you had, the Therapeutic Abortion Board.
I guess it just never occurred to me that in this day and age that you didn't have the choice. I mean, I had heard a lot of talk, but once I found out that I was pregnant, and decided that, in fact, it was a pregnancy that I didn't want to carry through with. I was practicing birth control. I mean, I had the IUD. I thought, you know, I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want any children at this time, and so I will, you know, take whatever precautions were necessary. And when I went to see the doctor, he removed the IUD and said, well, you know, you can carry this to term. I told him that I wanted an abortion, that I wanted to pursue that route, and that I had, talked it over, and this is what I wanted to do. Anyway, he said that I shouldn't have any problem. Well, I didn't know the city well enough at that time to be able to challenge him, and it never occurred to me that you didn't have a choice in whether you wanted to have a child or not. And so I took his word for it, and I had to go through the whole process. He made an appointment for me with a psychiatrist who would be able to give some kind of profile of me. I don't know. I never got a straight answer out of him exactly what he was looking for. Anyway, I went and saw him, and the psychiatrist sat me down, and I guess I moved through this whole time in a daze, because I really don't remember the specifics of it. I just sort of remember the aura of the moment, and I was very anxious to have the abortion, and I couldn't understand why I had to go through all this rigmarole and why he was asking me these silly, impertinent questions. And I, in retrospect, they were very leading. In a way, he was saying, well, I don't understand this choice, this decision you've come to, because you're healthy, you're married, your husband has a good job, you can afford to have this child. And he was saying that by the kinds of questions he was asking me and how he was steering the conversation. Anyway, I kept remembering that my doctor had said that there wouldn't be any problem. Anyway, the interview finished, and it really wasn't much of a dialogue. And he was going to type something up and send it along to the committee. And I was to wait. Well, I waited and I waited. And I had called you because I wanted you to be with me. I didn't want to go through this alone. And I don't even think it was the doctor who gave me the answer. I think it was the receptionist or the nurse receptionist, and I was told that I was not given approval by this committee that met, and I had no one to. I couldn't plea my case with anyone. That really horrified me. I couldn't sit down and meet these people
and made a decision on your life.
Who decided this for me and were imposing this pregnancy, which I had already come to terms with and made my decision, and they were somewhere sitting there reviewing this piece of paper with information that was, from a third party. I was really devastated by that. I really thought that we had moved, that we had come a long way, and I guess that brought home that we hadn't.
I think I can understand why women are reluctant, to talk about having had an abortion, because the whole context around sex is a private matter and should be. I really do think so. I mean, everything involved with sex is really a kind of one-to-one relationship, and there's very intimate.
But I was reluctant to talk about it, and I can't say that it's tied to sex. I do talk about it with friends, and it's not that I'm casual in my discussion about it, because it certainly wasn't a casual decision. But in this context, what upsets me, I suppose, is how judgmental people can be, and that they'll view this and they'll judge me in a certain, depending on their own point of view, without allowing me to dialogue with them. And maybe that is something that women consider as well, is the sense of being judged all the time by other people because of this decision.
Every woman that I've met, and I've met hundreds who have had abortions, each set of circumstances has been different. The trauma has been similar, when it was difficult to get, the abortion, but as long as women continue being reluctant in discussing this, and it's very much part of, it's a medical service that sooner or later some women are going to require. As long as women are reluctant to discuss it, it will always be a kind of closet, taboo type of subject, and we'll never have any changes in the law. Why? I think it's dreadful that such a very serious decision to bring a human being into the world should be decided upon by people who have no vested interest in the situation at all. All they're doing is making judgments. Most women who have a respect for human life feel that they have to, there's a nesting instinct, and you want to build your nest and be ready, because you can't just procreate and say, well, here's the baby and that's it. That's only the beginning of responsibility, as you know. And it goes on. I want to tell you, as long as you live, it never stops.